Hello, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. Guess what day it is? It is Thanksgiving Thursday, not the holiday. It is Thanksgiving Thursday. Every Thursday is Thanksgiving Thursday, not only in November, every Thursday. Why? We are here again. Yes. Welcome, February. Can you believe this? We are in February of 2022. And it's a beautiful thing to spend Thursday evening with you once more. It is just a pleasure coming here every Thursday, feeding you, you feeding me, we feeding each other, and we are growing. So I ask you if you have a story, a book, work in progress, bring it here so we can create, build, and grow, but most of all, support each other. I am your host this evening, every evening, Verona Willis-Brown. Mm-mm-mm. Tonight, we're opening the door of February beautifully, beautifully. So if this is your first time tuning in, let me see your hand raise in the emoji raise or just type in raise hand. And if this is not your first time tuning in, welcome back. Welcome back to this episode of the Question Live Show. I see Sharon. Sharon, welcome back. Welcome back. So tonight we are going to have a grand time. And of course, before we go any further, we have rules here. Rules. Rules. Well, actually, like probably 3 or 4. Rules. 1, have something to drink. Yes, I do have my drink over there every single night. I say this, have something to drink because we talk, and then we dehydrate it. So we need to hydrate the body. That's 1. 2, if you're looking over there, right there, you see across the little screen, it says live in the red, live. Simply mean you are in the live audience. And what is there to do when you're in the live audience? Share the live with someone so they could come on in the presence of the live audience. We share, we care. Yeah, so that's 2. 3, have your pen and have your paper ready. Because here we drop juicy contents and golden nuggets. So we want you to write them down, take note. Because when we take note and look at it, it is more visible. It manifests itself when we can see it. No problem. If you don't have a pen and paper ready, guess what? Your devices do have a notepad. Use it, utilize it, write stuff down. As a writer, I live to write. I write everything down. So I encourage you to do just the same. So while you're sitting there, try to get your writing stuff, try to get your drink. Don't forget to like up there. Live is there. So share it. Share it, share it, share it. And for my YouTube family, like, share, subscribe, and of course, hit the notification bell so you can know when we go live every Thursday. And sometimes we go live when it's not Thursday. So, ding, 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 ding. Here we go for February. I hope everyone's doing well out there. So tonight, let us pause for a second because my brother that I'm bringing tonight, he got a very impressive bio. And I want to read his bio to you because I am so impressed and I'm so proud and I want to celebrate him on the work that he's doing. So let me excuse myself and read his bio to you. Sergio Jimenez has been a teaching artist for Urban World NYC, Cooper Union, City Love, Project X, Dream Yard, and a variety of public and private schools across the country. With a discipline in poetry, performance, and visual arts, Sergio has featured in theaters such as the Apollo, the Mist, and the Snapple Theater. He has also competed in a variety of locations across the country, such as Virginia, Chicago, Texas, and Boston. Sergio has appeared teaching on Telemundo and NY1 News. He continues to teach and perform across the city while coaching college poetry teams, and is featured in a documentary directed by Theresa Castillo from the Bronx Documentary Center, narrating his personal life, staying close to home as a father, a poet, and a growing individual. I am impressed. I am impressed. And I love it when I see the youths standing for something. So if you are ready, then we are ready. And without further ado, let me welcome my brother right here on the question, Sergio. Welcome.
Hey Verona, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Yay! I'm excited too. I'm excited when I read your bio. I'm impressed. Congratulations on all these achievements and being the growing individual you're trying to achieve.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes. And I want to congratulate you on being a daddy.
Thank you very much.
That's an accomplishment by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a job by itself. So I read your bio. Now you tell the audience where you're tuning in from. And if
Yeah,
you want to add a little bit more, you can add.
definitely. My name is Sergio Jimenez. I'm coming from New York City. I originally lived in the Bronx, but right now I'm in Washington Heights. I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter who's with me today. So if you hear her in the back, that's her showing her love. And yeah, I started writing poetry when I was 19 years old. Oh, well, I was 17 years old, but exactly. I was 19 years old when I first started taking it seriously. And that's when I decided to make it my full-time career, whatever it took, whatever I wanted, uh, you know, whatever I needed to do to accomplish that. I asked myself, I love poetry. I'm in love with it. I love the community. I love what poetry does for me. I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Now I'm 26 years old, still making sure that I'm able to put food on the table and pay bills and take care of my family with poetry.
Whoo wee. Well, my brother. I love it. I love it. There's something about poetry. There's something about it that it gets to the soul. And I think we all I we might be published poetry or we not poetry is not even a word, I just created one. But we might be published poets or not, right? But somehow we all are poets. Because if we think back and if we think nursery rhymes, nursery rhymes, we all been through nursery rhymes. And I don't know if you're teaching your babies nursery rhymes. Some of them don't make sense, but oh well, that's beside the point. That's beside the point. And anyhow, audience, if you do have questions, you can jot them in the comment section. If you have questions for my brother, we are going to go in a circle with questions. You have a question for him, we throw it at him, and we get our nice answer. I have question for him. I'll just wait for his answer. And of course, you heard the love, the little love in the background. We take baby lobster. Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you've been writing since you're 17. So we hit 20, you're 26 now, you said? 24?
Yeah. So it's almost 10 years now.
Man, that's a big accomplishment. Hey. So when did you discover that you have a love for poetry?
Well, honestly, it was junior year in high school, and my teacher at the time, my English teacher, took us to a poetry slam for teenagers. Urban Word NYC. You can find them on Instagram. They were the host of the organized poetry slam, and basically, it was a preliminary round of a major New York City slam, where out of hundreds of teenagers, they would choose six to travel to nationals and represent New York City in a national youth poetry slam competition. In 2012 was the first time I did this poetry slam, and I didn't make it past semifinals, but I did fall in love with the culture, with the community. Uh, yeah, exactly. I've never been in a space where teenagers are uncensored. You know, these
Yeah.
teenagers were cursing their ears off. They were talking about their childhoods. They were talking about loves and heartbreak. They were talking about their family and their relationship with their mothers and their parents. And they were talking about all these things.
Everything.
I was like, this is incredible. You can really do this. And I was 16, 17 years old. I have a super strict mom. So being uncensored is off the table at home.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with yeah, being able to take over your voice in a space like
Right,
that.
right. It's like taking the full control of yourself, taking the full control and having the freedom to express yourself, not holding back like, no, I need to get that out of my system. Because there's something about you getting that out of your system. You release that. And I know
Exactly.
all the teenagers felt real good. You
And
probably were like, I'm not sure if my mom is going to see this.
yeah, my mom has actually found some of my poems when I was a teenager too, and it didn't end wisely. Um, But yeah, in 2012, I did the competition. I didn't win the competition, but I fell
Yeah,
in love with the craft. So for an entire year, I kept writing. I kept practicing. I would practice while showering, while doing dishes, while sweeping and mopping, while laundry. I would
yeah,
practice my poetry. In 2013, because it's an annual competition, in
yeah,
2013, I tried again. I reached out to Urban Word. I said, "Hey, you guys are still doing it? All right, I'm in." And I actually started back in 2011, 2012. I started with gospel poetry. I would actually write gospel hip hop and gospel poems, and
really.
yeah, that's how I started off. And so in 2013, I made it past the preliminaries. Then they gave you an invitation to go to semifinals. After semifinals, the top 21 poets from the competition went to the Apollo Theater. And then from there, from the top 21, the top six went to Chicago that year in 2013. So I remember being the top 21 on the Apollo stage for the first time in my life, 16 years old,
Yeah,
falling
yeah.
in love with the craft for the first time. I remember I told myself, I hope this never ends, Uh, and then I was chosen as one of the top six to go to Chicago that year. So it was a life changing experience.
I can imagine. Listen, just the fact that you're performing in the Apollo alone, just that
Right.
alone.
Right. And it's
Woo.
because of organizations like Urban Word
Right,
NYC who have platforms for young people like me. If it
right.
wasn't for them hosting that slam, I would have never walked into a space and fell in love with the poets and fell in love with the community,
I'm familiar with them. Yeah, they've been around for a good minute too. Yeah. What is your expectation of yourself? First, as a man, two, as a father, and just as a human being.
Gotcha. That's a great question, Verona. First, as a man, I didn't grow up with a father, but I had a lot of father figures, right? And so I did this exercise called 7 levels deep. A lot of entrepreneurs use it and businessmen, but it's really like trying to find out your deeper inner purpose. And so basically, you start with what you're pursuing. What are you pursuing? Is it money? Is it a good family? Is it a house one day? Is it whatever it is that you're pursuing? Exactly.
Yes, exactly. That's right, baby.
And you ask yourself why 7
Yeah.
times.
Know your why. Exactly.
I'll say, I'm pursuing financial freedom because I want to be a great father. Why?
Yes.
I want to be a great father because, and then you do that 7 times. In the beginning, you're speaking from. Thank you, Cheryl. You're speaking from a place of, just the answers. Like, yeah, I know the answer. I tell myself all the time. But after like level 4 or level 5, you start speaking from the heart and you start pulling
Mm.
strings that you didn't know were there. And so I ended
Mhm.
up getting to the point where I realized I had a lot of father figures, but each one of them in my eyes, in some way, shape, or form, failed to be the man I
Mm.
expected them to be. So I realized as an adult now and as a
Yes.
father, my objective, my divine purpose is to be the man that I needed when I was younger, to be the man I would look up to if I was still a child. Um, and it's not a location. It's not like an ending journey. It's not like you'll get there one day and you're there.
Yes.
It's a constant, never ending evolution,
Yes.
because society changes. So the
Right. Right.
definition of what a great man changes. And there's no manual out there. There's books and mentors, but there's no real precise way to do this correctly. So it's constantly asking myself, how can I do better today? What can I
Mhm.
do better? Especially when it comes to being a father. Um,
Mhm.
my 4-year-old is getting to a point where he's actually developing memories that are going to stay with him.
Right. Right.
I remember kindergarten, and now he's at that age where he's going to walk into kindergarten. So I take that into consideration. He's not like
Yes.
my 2-year-old where she might not remember anything right now. He's starting to
Right.
develop everlasting memories. So I ask
Mm.
myself, how can I make sure I am the man that I needed when I was a child? So that's really my objective right now.
Wow. Yes. And that by itself speaks volume. That speaks volume by itself because you want to have that impression and you want to have that, you want to fit into that mold. There's a mold, right? And every day that mold is there. And every day you got to find a way to adjust to fit in. You got to adjust to add on to those coming up behind you, and you have your children. So no matter what you do, you got to make adjustment to deposit on your children. Because the whole point of us as parents, we want to leave a legacy behind. And not only for our birth children, but the generation that's coming up, right? The generation that's coming up. And what we did not receive from the parent, the father in your case, we don't want to have our children missing that. So I want to congratulate you on that answer, period. Because that's solid. And for a lot of men out there who are listening and who are watching this, take note because this is like a note. This is like I told you to have your pen and your paper ready because this is a note, right? This is something that so many of our men out there, they're not adjusting their mindset. And it's about adjusting your mindset in a certain place to say, all right, what is it that I can do today to better my tomorrow? Okay, yesterday is gone. So what is it that I can adjust today? So that right there, that's solid. That is solid right there.
Yeah. Also, when it
Yeah.
comes to fatherhood, I take a lot of pointers from uh, celebrity mentors that I look up to as fathers. One example is Will Smith.
Yes.
He gave me a very hard realization that's difficult for a lot of parents to receive, but I've come to an understanding that my children aren't mine. I don't own them. They're not property, but God has assigned them to me, and I have to make sure I just raise them. I have to make sure that they're healthy. I have to make sure I'm responsible for their upbringing, but they are on their own journeys through life,
Yes.
on their own journeys with God, and I'm
Yes.
just their guidance. And so the way Will Smith says it is, they are seeds, and the only
Yes.
thing you can do with a seed is water it. You can't force it to be a flower that you want.
No.
You can't force it to be a rose. You can't force it to
No.
be a sunflower. you can just water it. And so that's my objective as a parent, is asking myself, how can I water these kids? How can I
Yes.
help them through their own journeys in life? It may disappoint me sometimes. I may, get sad or angry sometimes, but they are not mine. I don't own my children. They are
No.
going to shape themselves into whatever God is intended for them to, become.
That is full. That right there, my brother, is full. And I'm glad that you got it from Will Smith, because I made that conclusion when I was raising my daughter. I said, "You are not mine. I'm only here as the vessel. I was only placed as the vessel, as your mama. So you are on your own journey. You have to make decisions. And this is where parents fail. And I'm glad that you are addressing this in such a way, because this is where parents fail. They want their children to be something that they want for themselves. But God is saying, I want them to be this. But you are forcing them and you're bending them in a way that you want them to be that, just to suit you, or just to fit in with society, just to fit in with society, just to go with society requirements. Oh, this is the family and you're supposed to have this. But what does God say? You are only a vessel.
Yeah.
Man, you're a vessel. Woman, you're a vessel that bring forth a seed.
Yeah, I
When
was
you
listening
hear
to an interview where this young man said, what was his words precisely? It slipped out of my head just now, but yeah, definitely, it definitely pinpoints. Oh yeah, he was mentioning an education. So he speaks in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and colleges. He's a public speaker, and he says in kindergarten and in elementary school, first grade, second grade, third graders, they love speaking. They have so many questions, a variety of questions. They'll ask the most random, abstract questions. But when you get to 11th and 12th graders, they're quiet. They're shy to raise their hands. So something happens from kindergarten to 12th grade that
absolutely.
shuts down a human's ability to just want to interact and be abstractly creative and ask those questions that are just random and obtuse, We really have to start allowing children to be children.
Yeah, let there be. Let there be. That's it. That's my thing. Let your children be, so they can be, right? Let them evolve into who God created them for them to be. So you are a teacher of poetry. Let us know how we can get in touch with your work, because, like I said, your bio is impressive. So can you let us know how can we get in touch with you? Social media, as well as you have a website out there that you offer teaching. Yes, so let us get that, so we can, for those who want to be in poetry and those who want to learn more, my brother here is willing, is ready, is prepared. So drop in that website, and so we can share that website with those who are out there. Like I said, poetry is for everyone. We all learn nursery rhymes, so we all been there.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you, Verona. Yeah. So you read the bio, and when I tell people I'm 25 years old, I'm gonna turn 26 this month now. They're shocked at how young I am, and it's honestly just because I started at a young age.
Right, and your
We
baby
expect,
face.
yeah, we expect a lot of validity from the world. We
Yes,
expect, oh, in order to do this, I need a degree. In order to do that, I need some certification. In order to do this, and honestly, sometimes the only permission we need granted is our own. So when I
yes,
was 19 years old, one, like I mentioned, Urban Word, if it wasn't for that organization, I, a 16-year-old, would have never fallen in love with poetry. So I
yes,
asked myself, how can I make sure I do that for other young people as well? How can I make sure that these young people fall in love with poetry, and then they're not just doing similes and metaphors in school, And so I went to a mentor. I went to mentors at Urban Word, and then I branched out to other organizations, Dream Yard, City Lore, Cooper Union. But I started at Urban Word, and I asked them, what does it take to be a teaching artist? I want to teach poetry. And they told me, and they was like, hey, first things first, you need experience. And so at the time I was at Brooklyn College, I was the president of the poetry team on Brooklyn College, so I decided to host free writing workshops for like college students there. I was like, yeah, come. Sometimes I'd have nobody show up. Sometimes I have 2 people. Sometimes I have 10, but I gave myself experience and I was able to put on my resume that I
Yes.
held poetry workshops at a college institution. They don't have to know that it's because I was a student at a poetry club. And so I started gathering my own experience. Now, 8 years, 9 years later now, because it's been 9 years, I'm still doing poetry full time. One thing I noticed is, and this goes for all artists,
Yes.
photographers, painters, drawers, dancers, singers, poets.
Yes.
There's 2 ways or 2 types of people that will pay you and compensate you for your artwork. Those who want you to do it for them. People will say, hey, can you perform at this event? I'll pay you $100. Hey, nice, Brooklyn College alumni. There are people who say, hey, can you come to this event? Can you come to this college? I'll pay you $75. I'll pay you $200. I've gotten paid up to $800 just to perform. I've gotten paid to go to a whole different state to perform, right? So there are people who will pay you to do the thing.
Yes.
And then there are people who will pay you to learn the thing.
Yes.
Right? So there's people that will say, can you perform for me? And then there's people that will say, can you host a writing workshop? Can you teach me how to poetry? Can you teach me what is it that you do? And so those 2 routes are where I really started making money and being able to build my career as a full-time poet. And then I realized one of my friends asked me, how did you do this? How did you get into your poetry career? I didn't go to college for this. I went to college, but not for poetry. And what's interesting about I have friends who have master's degrees in creative writing and English and poetry, and they don't teach you how to do this full time. They don't teach you how to actually have a job in the industry, in the career that you've studied. And so I started, excuse me. So I started this mentorship program where anytime I bump into poets who want to give me some water, I'm gonna get some water real quick. Verona said there's one rule: you got to make sure you're drinking something. So I asked myself, poets, yeah, exactly. Poets who want to learn how to host their own open mics, poets who want to learn how to publish a book, poets who want to learn how to do their own writing workshops, poets who want to learn how to negotiate when someone wants you to, perform for them, or when someone wants you to speak, right? How can I help them out? And so I created this mentorship program where I basically help poets succeed in quitting their day jobs and becoming full-time poets. So what I'm offering today now for everyone in the audience, I have a free editing course. So basically, one of the things I learned from one of my poetry mentors, Mahogany Brown, some of you may be familiar with her. She's recently the poet laureate, the first poet laureate of Lincoln Center here in New York City. But she's been doing poetry for over 20 years, coaching national poetry teams, all that good stuff. She taught me a lot of techniques that helped me edit and revise my poetry. She said, don't fall in love with your first draft. And that's something that a lot of us do as poets. Exactly. We'll write a poem and we'll fall in love with our first drafts and we'll say, this is amazing. I don't want to edit it. It's beautiful. But I learned revision techniques. That's my daughter in the back saying hi. Revision techniques. Editing our poetry actually helps us out. So if you go to, and I'm not able to put it in myself, but Verona, I'll send it to you, www.thesergiojimenez.com. Right now, anyone in the audience, you can sign up for a free editing workshop, free editing and revision techniques. There are 10 of them, and each of them is like 5-minute videos, so you can get it done in like an hour. It's my top 10 editing and revision techniques that I believe every poet should know in order to revise their poetry. Why? One, for yourself. Poetry is a language. At the end of the day, I tell people I know 3 languages: English, Spanish, and poetry, because poetry allows us not to learn new words, but to take the words we already know and elaborate on how we feel. I know some of you poets already know you never have that experience where you're like, I don't know how to explain how I'm feeling. No, we're poets. We know how to do that because we take our words to do that. So these editing techniques helped me in the question of how can I make sure I get the best words? I choose the best words. I decide on the best decision of words to get my message across, right? And so those editing techniques helped me out. Now, because of those editing techniques, I'll go to an open mic. I'll go to any performance. I'll go just to relax and have a drink. But if I'm performing at that open mic, if I'm performing at that event, even if it's for free, just because I'm chilling with some friends and I'm hanging out, every single time I perform, there's someone that's messaging me, calling me, texting me, hitting me up on Instagram, or shaking my hand after the event saying, hey, that was amazing. I have an event that I would love you to be at. Every single time now. And it's because, not because I market myself, it's literally because I edit my poems. I edit and improve my writing. So anytime I perform, anytime I read, someone's like, I need you at this event. How much? I need you to do the workshop for me. How much? And it's because I've edited and revised my poetry. So on that website, thesergiojimenez.com, you'll see a little film. It's a 2-minute film about why I love poetry by TRC Films on Instagram. And then you'll be able to sign up for the free workshops. Free 99, top 10 editing and revision techniques. You can get it done in an hour. Yeah.
Free 99. Hello. Anybody out there? Free 99. That's my price. I love that price. That price, you can't beat that price. So, because we have this kind of Steve going on and he's offering you free 99, best price in town, you can't get any better than that. I am going to ask him to read us one of I saw the poem. I like his performance. So I am going to excuse myself again because I asked him to read to you Abuela. That's my little Spanish accent.
Awesome.
Okay, so take it from here as we hear your poem and Abuela.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So my grandmother passed away in 2017, a little context. And some of you may know sometimes you're going through an emotional state where you have no one to talk to, no one to confide in. And, poetry doesn't solve our problems, but it's very therapeutic and it helps us feel better, especially when we write it and we share it with the world. It makes the world feel less smaller. So every time I perform this poem about my grandmother passing away, just a content warning, it's about cancer awareness. So, if you know someone who has cancer, or if you have someone who passed away because of cancer, letting you know right now, if you can't sit through the entire poem, it's okay to mute me. It's okay to lower me until I'm completed. You don't have to listen to the entire poem. But I hope you enjoy. Tomorrow's another day. We all have bills to pay, so much problems to face. But tonight, here we stay. My brothers and I in the living room playing Need for Speed and 2K. How Danny's a sore loser at all these games, and Greg can't play Call of Duty. He spins in circles when he aims. And then I realized, wow, this is all going to fade. When bedtime arrives and tomorrow becomes a decade. My mother saw this coming long before her teeth decayed. Tells us diabetes is a villain, and when it takes her away to have each other's back and make sure we never stray. Because life is full of houses and cars and weddings and babies and funerals and puppy love and homework and pain. And pain. And pain. I'm watching my grandmother dying in pain. Her shortness of breath turned oxygen to gold. She doesn't want chemo. I joke and say cancer's not killing her, it's just that she's old. We play Celia Cruz and Música de la Isla, so she's alive in her soul. Her eyes are dancing bold, but her body feels cold. I knew that death would visit her, but it's hard to accept that grandma's gotta go. For 7 days, I stay by her bedside, and every day I let her know she is la reina de la familia. She's worked hard for her throne. As I help her with her meals, since she can't eat alone, she calls me a saint, a santo, as her eyes close. People near death have a habit of smelling like rose. Well, now I'm back in the city, because tomorrow's another day and we still got bills to pay. I'm sitting here in this living room playing video games, loving my brothers more than ever now. Because life is full of houses and cars and weddings and babies and funerals and puppy love and homework and pain and who knows what else life will take away. I'm sitting here with thoughts fogged up, hoping grandma's doing okay. I had to make this rhyme so it's easier to say. I bow my head, but if death is inevitable, then what should I pray? Like if we're not all here sitting around waiting for someone to say that Abuela passed away. This is the first time that I beat Danny at 2K. Yeah. And that's when the phone call came. And my mama is screaming her head out, and I just want to clear my brain, but I wonder I wonder what she used her last breath to say. A song, a prayer, a whisper, or my name. Awesome. Thank you.
Woo! Mic drop, ding, bomb. Well, listen. Listen. I knew Abuela was gonna come in right. I knew it. Word. Drop mic, walk away, just don't even look back. Because I knew and I know right now she called your name. That's it. I knew it wasn't a song on her lips. She called your name as you carry on the mantle. Carry it strong. Carry it knowing that God is in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Carry it knowing that Abuela would be proud of you. Carry it and create that legacy. A legacy that your children will see and will know who their father is and was.
Yeah, thank you.
Carry your legacy. Carry your torch. And ladies and gentlemen, he's gonna be leaving us short because he gotta attend to his baby. But I want to say to you that to my left is a chair. I call it my guest chair, and you are very much family now. So you are welcome to come back and grace us anytime you wish to come back. This is the open door, safe space, peaceful place. Come back, knock on my door, let me know you want to come back. I will welcome you back. This is a space for you. I
Definitely.
said, I I'm just like, wow. Like I don't know how much to say I celebrate you anymore, but I do celebrate you from my heart. I send you peace from my heart. I send you love from my heart. I send you prosperity from my heart and much, much success, not only to you, but your family, your space. And everywhere you move from here, I send you success and peace and love as you go through this journey called life. Much blessings to
Thank
you.
you so
I
much.
thank you so much. Gracias,
Yeah.
mi hermano, for coming here. I look, I know
Yeah,
I look this.
definitely. Thank you, Verona, for having me again. I'll end with this.
Yes.
If you look up right now, the Philippines, right? They have an ancient poetry form called the Awi. Using their Tagalog. I'm saying that
Yes, baby, that's right. That's right. I love that cheer. I
wrong.
love that cheerleader.
So if you look up the Awit form from the Philippines, you can find poems from 1100 AD. And if you look up Kansas City Archive, or is it Kansas City? I think it's Kansas Archive. You'll
Mm,
find poems from the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, right? And so one thing I've come to realize in the last 2 or 3 years of my writing is the most beautiful thing about poets is we are the history books. Poetry is archive. And it's up to us to write about the times that we live in. It's up to us. I know someone said that too. It's the responsibility of the artist to
yes.
capture the time. Because if we don't write our stories, how people are going to know about them in the future?
Yeah.
The 1930s, the Dust Bowl was almost 100 years ago, is 92 years ago. So if we can read poems from the 1930s and their experience with all the dust and the storms, imagine who can find our poems 100 years from now, 200 years
Absolutely.
from now, 1,000 years from now. So I'll tell everyone, write something, anything, write about what
Yes.
you love, write about the music of the time, write about your experience with coronavirus and COVID, write whatever
That's
you may,
right.
because no one's going to write your story for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Verona, again for having me. And I definitely look forward to seeing future shows.
Listen, before you go, I have one. I like to put in a fun question because there's always a fun question coming up for my guests. So I bless you already. So I want to give you that one fun question and send you off into the success world. So your one question is for tonight will be Let me find your fun question. Your fun question for tonight. What season best fit your personality?
Ah, that's hilarious. So I was born in February. Everyone expects me to be a winter baby. I remember back when I was a teenager, when it gets hot, people want the cold. When it gets cold, people want the heat. And someone was like, I think it was an elder of mine, maybe my grandmother, but someone said, every time it's cold, people complain that they want the heat. And then it's hot and people complain. I said, fine, I won't complain. I'll just choose one. Give me heat 24/7. I'll just be in the heat all day. So I would say summer. Summer is definitely a personality of mine.
There you go. Mine too. I tell people, give me 100 degrees, I'm fine. No worries. I'll take 100 degrees any day, anytime. I won't complain. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. So, again, it's such a pleasure to have you here. It's such a beauty to have you here. And of course, our youngest guest in the back, the cheerleader. Yes, I love it. I love it. I take her, like, come on over to Auntie Titi's right here. I'll take her right on the show as our youngest guest, as a cheerleader.
There you go. Yeah. And if
Yes.
you want to stay in touch with me or anyone else in the chats, whether on Facebook or YouTube,
Yeah.
my name, Sergio Jimenez. That's me on Instagram. So feel free to add me on
Okay.
Instagram. You can always stay in touch and, communicate. If anyone wants to share a poem, drop a poem on Instagram for me. I'd be more than happy to check it out. And it was great meeting you, Verona.
Yeah, same here. So thank you, thank you, thank you again. And ladies and gentlemen, as we're not gonna finish the show. We're just gonna my brother's just gonna pause away because he gotta be the father. I say, go ahead. So listen, so it's just gonna be me and you tonight as Sergio gotta go do his daddy's role. So we're talking about poetry tonight. So while we are talking about poetry, in the audience, if you love poetry, if you love poems, let me know you love poems because I am going to, well, I consider myself a poet, which I am truly. That's my first love. I love poems. I am going to read to you a poem. So if you do like poems, well, tonight you're going to like poems. We are going to read because we all like poems. I mentioned this earlier, we learn nursery rhymes, and nursery rhymes are basically poems. Yes, it's just poems. Nursery rhymes we learn hey diddle diddle and the cat and the fiddle and all these things. They never make sense at some point, but those were poems. So write little things down, and you will see poems don't have to be in a certain order, certain structure. Just to put line by line, snippet by snippet, and of course, it form into a poem. So I am going to read to you a poem while Sergio went to be daddy. To be free, to be who you were created to be a wife or a husband, to stay faithful and obedient, to decide to leave your family and be with someone else, to accept, deny the good, bad, or the ugly, to love, dislike, disguise, or disagree, to smile with someone who think it is a difficult task, to challenge, to give up, to be strengthened, to laugh loudly, softly, maybe, to listen attentively. And this poem is dedicated to anyone who feel they are in bondage. And let me read another one. It's called Still. Life does not usually turn out the way we want it, but yet we still live. We do not usually give what we should, yet we still give. We do not get what we want, yet we accept things. We complain even about the amount of sleep we get, but yet we still sleep. We complain about the money we do not have, yet we still spend. We call ourselves good people, but yet we still judge. We do not ask for things, so yes, we are still lacking. Nothing in life is the same from day to day. And this is dedicated to those who feel they cannot move forward. Now, I read you two poems. Now, you can pick which one of them that resonate with you. We had one called Still and the other one called To Be Free. Which one resonated with you? What did you pull from either one of those poems? Let me know in the comment section which one of them you have To Be Free and the other one is Still. Before we finish the night, we are going to do another one. So out of those two, Cheryl, which one resonated with you? And again, you heard Sergio encourage you to write. I don't consider myself an author. I consider myself as a writer. Writing it doesn't take much. You just need your pen or pencil and your piece of paper. It don't have to be a notebook. You don't have to write in a big notebook. Just a piece of paper like this. Index card, sticky pads. Write something every day. Read and write every day. Let those two marry each other. The more you read and write is the more you will expand your knowledge and increase your wisdom. Increased knowledge, acquired knowledge is what will get you somewhere. Not just knowledge by itself, because we were all given knowledge. We were all given knowledge before we were born. So when we were born, that is what we have to utilize. But when you acquire knowledge, that is when you take what you got and you develop it into something every single day. You utilize what was given to you at base and you expand it. Every day you learn something. Every single day, God, open your eyes. He's saying, I am opening your eyes so you could learn something today. Not yesterday. Yesterday is gone. Today is for you to learn something new. It's to acquire new knowledge every day. But don't just acquire it. Utilize it. Put it to use. Many times we sit there and we acquire this knowledge and we just sit back. And we sit back and we wait for somebody else to do something for us. But what is it that you will do for yourself? What will you do with the time that God gave you? Every single second matters. Every single second matters. And every single second, you got thoughts rolling in your head. So, what is it that you're going to be doing with those thoughts? What is it that you're going to do? Exactly. Utilize it and teach it to others. Because every time you get a thought, at this very moment, not that you are listening to my voice, but you have a thought going. Not one, not two, not three, a lot of thoughts going in your head right now. But why is it that you have them rolling in your head? Take them out of your head, put them to action, put them to work. Somebody's waiting to hear your story. Somebody's waiting to hear what your thought went out. Somebody's waiting to hear your voice. Every last one of us got a story. Everyone. You heard Sergio's story. He didn't grow up with a father. So that's what he did. He took that and he put all that passion into poetry. And that poetry vibrates all of that. And he feed that energy. And now, what is he saying? Now I want to teach you. He's getting paid for his poetry work. And he's telling you, I'm offering you my time. I am offering you the time that God gave me. I am offering you the knowledge that God gave me. I am offering you some of the experience that I learned. I am offering it to you. Yes. And that's what we should do every day. Each time we survive something, each time we learn something, each time we experience something, it is for us to come back and disperse it. Each day is for you to love on yourself, then you can love others. God is teaching you for you to teach others, and you don't have to be a certified teacher. No, we all are teachers. Because right now, you're in the audience, you're teaching me something. I am the host, I am teaching you something. So we all were born with that teaching characteristic. I could teach you how to be patient. You could teach me how to smile through my storm. You could teach me how to be a better mom. So just looking at Sergio and listening to him, I could learn how to be a better host. So we all are here as teachers, servants, vessels. And if you're a mother like me, you should know. You could teach your children, but remember one thing, they're not yours. God lent them to you. If you got one child or children, not yours. You were only a vessel to teach them a little bit of life. Because God already gave them the instruction. God already planted that in them. So you are here as a teacher of your children or your child or your community or the world to add something, to guide, to guide, to guide. God is the main guidance, but He wants you as a teacher to guide those that He put in your path. First set, your children, your seed. And it is written, you heard Him said it. And He said, you got to sprinkle some water. If you know anything about farming, if you know anything about planting a flower, put that little water on that plant and you will watch how it will grow. That plant will grow. And if you're a farmer, you put just that little seed in the ground. And when you water it, you wait for it to germinate and you wait for it to just spread up into what is it that you're seeking. Think about what your end result is and call your end result to the front. And when you call your end result to the front, you will see how well things will manifest. If you water that plant, you'll see how it flourish into the very plant that you so want, you so desire. So what is it that you so desire today, in this moment? You have to give account for every moment that you have. So what is it that you so desire in this very moment, in this time, in this 2022? No matter what it is, you have to give account for just about every single moment. God is counting on us. And that's why He woke us up this morning. So with that said, I am going to read another poem while you think about how is it that you are going to germinate that little seed. What is it that you are going to be teaching the next person? What is it that what is it that you learned since you woke up this morning? Drop it in the comment and let me know what is it that you learned since God woke you up this morning while I prepare to read another poem in the closing of this episode. Welcome back, Bad Fountain. Welcome. Blessing, blessing, blessings. So while you're thinking about who planted a seed in you this morning, or what did you learn this morning, or who did you teach a thing or two to? I'll gather the poem as I get ready to read this one in your hearing. So the next poem we will read is called Laughter. You make me laugh aloud and broaden my smiles. You make me pause, but not for long. You ask questions, and I had no answers. Your face I could not see. Your mind I could not read. But yet, your words did such a great deed. What were you saying? What was I thinking? These questions are asked while the phone was ringing. And this is dedicated to those who find it difficult to laugh at themselves. And here goes another one as we close out this episode. To be loved by you. To be loved by someone the way you deserve to be loved. To feel what someone else is feeling. To see what no one else can see is seeing. To smile when no one is smiling. This one is dedicated to you, my dear love. You are my love. You are my student. You are the reason I show up every single Thursday. And because you showed up, I showed up. I get excited every Thursday. I come in every Thursday. And as we come in every Thursday, I am grateful. I am grateful that you're here to open the door of February episode with us here on The Question. So as I close out this episode, I say, if you have a story, a book, work in progress, bring it here so we can build and grow together. But most of all, let us come together and support each other on this journey called life. You see, in life, no one, number one, no one person can succeed by themselves. We all need each other. You need me and I need you. And just how we join together, let us remember that when you succeed, never forget those who are still trying to come up to that level of success. Success is for all of us. And as we strive to achieve the goal that we set out with the intentions that we put in place, it is the action that we will take that will have these things manifest. Because our thoughts alone will not have no form of manifestation. Our thoughts alone is not action. So let us take our thoughts, the things that we set our mind on, and put them into action as we send a gratitude to God for giving us a new day. If you are in the audience and you do have a story and you wish to be on this show, don't forget, just send me an email, jot your name down in the comment section, and we will take it from here. So, tonight as we close, I want to say thank you for Bad Fountain that's showing up. Cheryl, thank you for showing up. And thank you Katrina for showing up here in the live audience. And for those who are on YouTube who I am not seeing, I want to thank you so much for showing up just the same. Again, this is your host, Verona Willis-Brown, saying peace, love, joy, and blessing and prosperity to you as an individual, to your space, to your country, to you and your home. As I hope to see you here next week, same time, same place. May God be the center of all that you achieve. And don't forget to put Him in front of everything that you so intended to do. See you on the next round, which is next week's Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is your host, signing off. Good night. Good night, Cheryl. Peace and blessing to you all.